Good morning. It's great to be back. Exciting week for us, an opportunity for 19 of our seniors to play their last home game or be involved in their last home game here at High Point Solutions Stadium on what is going to be a really special day for our university, a day where the 1960 undefeated football team, led by Alex Kroll, will be inducted into our Athletic Department Hall of Fame. And somebody we're familiar with, a guy by the name of Sean O'Hara, will also be inducted into the Hall of Fame here at Rutgers. So certainly well-deserved accomplishments. And two football teams that are, I think, very similar. Both kind of in the same place of their seasons, coming off some weeks where they're dealing with disappointment. And I think when you look at us statistically, in a lot of categories, we're very similar. Questions?
Talk about the emotions of senior day for you.
I don't know that there are a lot of emotions about senior day for me until the game is over, until after the game. And that, as coaches, we kind of train ourselves to be really focused on the game, one play at a time, everything leading up to it and then during. And my message to the team has been the same. I think, I've seen teams go wrong and not play as well as they would like to in these situations because they put too much of the focus on what senior day is. I think it's fine for that day to serve as motivation, but motivation of the process, motivation of your preparation, and then the rest of it can be left till after the game.
Kyle, I know you felt that the bye week would help Gary, so now that it's in the past, just how do you think everything went last week?
I thought it was a good week for Gary. He practiced 2 of the 3 days. I thought, looking at him last night when we came back and practiced again, that he's further along. Is he 100%? I don't know that he is, but I think he's further along than he was last week and closer to being 100%, which was important to us.
Kyle, another Gary question. You've known him for a long time. How has he changed from the kid who came here as a freshman to the senior who played his last game?
Oh, he's a completely different guy. There's no doubt. I think the experiences of being a starting quarterback for 4 years and some of the turns that Gary's career has taken, I'm really proud of this year. And I'll speak to the most recent version of Gary Nova. His ability to handle adversity, he's as good at it, or I'm watching a player as good at it this year as any player that I've been associated with in my career. And I think that's important. That position, there's going to be a lot of scrutiny. That's just the reality of that position, and learning to handle that and then learning to overcome it and move past it and continue to get better and perform better. It's a tremendous statement, I think, about what Gary's done his senior year.
A follow to that, what do you think his legacy will be? How will he be remembered at Rutgers when all done?
Well, I think I'd rather leave those until the season's over because we still have 25% of our season left to play. I think right now I'm pleased with the direction he's moving this year, and I'm pleased, more specifically, I'm pleased with the direction he's moving towards this week, and I expect him to play well.
Kyle, what do you feel like you best accomplished over the bye week, and how much does the extra prep for Indiana help you for Saturday?
We think it helps. We'll find out on Saturday, how much it actually helps. But, we devoted some time to it, a little bit more than we had earlier in the year because I think the team's at a different place. This time of year, one of the advantages of having a bye week is it allows you to get a little bit healthier. It allows a guy like Gary Nova to be a little bit healthier, toward game day. So that certainly will help us as well.
Coach, with Gleason listed as questionable, what's the punting situation look like this week?
If we played today, Joe Roth would be our starting punter.
Going to be open kind of like you've had it in the past?
We'll see how that'll depend a little bit on Timmy's health. The more he can do this week, the more of a competition we'll have, and then we'll make the decision later in the week.
What are some of the challenges of stopping Tevin Coleman in Indiana's run game?
He's a really talented football player. 7.5 yards a carry, a body type very similar to the running backs we just saw at Wisconsin. Somebody up until last week had a pretty impressive record of 100-yard gains despite some of the better defenses, and he faced one of the better rushing defenses last week. He's got all the things that a really good running back has. He's got excellent balance. He's got excellent vision. He's got great burst through the line of scrimmage. He's a complete player.
Kyle, you mentioned his 100-yard streak. He's been able to do that now with a second and third quarterback in Indiana. How have they been able to make that happen?
I think they're committed to it. I think that's the first thing. He's going to get his touches. When you've got a tailback with that kind of talent, they make sure that he gets his touches within the game, and they're good up front. I think they do a good job on their offensive line of blocking for them. I wouldn't put too much into that streak ending last week. It's still, to me, a very impressive streak, and the fact that it ended against a good rushing defense, I don't put much stock in that. He's going to be the focal point of what they do on offense. He was when they had their first quarterback, so certainly now he's going to be.
Just what have you seen from their quarterback?
This is what you see. Every week they give him a little bit more. I think the first week he only attempted 10 passes. I think this week he attempted somewhere in the mid-20s. So every week he's been able to handle a little bit more of their offense, and I expect that to be the same. And with that comes more balance on offense. I think you heard Kevin speak to that a little bit in his postgame. They're starting to regain some of the balance on offense that they had earlier in the year. And the more that they make you defend the pass, the more dangerous the running back's going to be.
Have they changed anything with him in there?
It was just early on. It wasn't that the offense changed. It's just that they didn't attempt as many passes. Now you're seeing the passes are worked more into the flow of the game like they would with their starter.
Kyle, from a pure just intelligence for the game standpoint, where does Kevin Snyder rank among guys you've coached, and just what's unique about what he's brought to this defense over the last couple of years?
I don't know. I'm not sure that the all-time rankings on that are easy to come up with, but Kevin's a very intelligent football player, and in the middle of the defense, you need a guy who not only can make quick decisions, but is a great communicator and can direct the traffic, and Kevin's done an excellent job of that for us.
You mentioned the quarterback, the extenuating circumstance, but how strange is it, Kyle, in perspective, to see a team change their offensive identity as much as they have from year to year? Because last year, obviously, they were spread, threw the ball all over the place, and this year, obviously, they have the number 2 running back in the country. So the coaching staff stayed the same, but it seems like what they're doing on offense changed a lot from year to year.
Well, Kevin Wilson's got a pretty impressive resume as an offensive coordinator. So I don't know that he would agree with that statement necessarily. I think he would probably answer it, and I won't answer it for him, but I'll answer it the way I would answer it as an offensive coach. The most important thing you can do on offense is get the ball in the hands of your best playmakers. They've got an exceptional running back, so they do a lot of things to try and get the ball in his hands. They've also got some talented receivers. They've got 2 of their receivers are shorter guys, but really, really fast, high-level speed guys, and they do a good job trying to get the ball in their hands as well.
I think their offense gets a lot of the attention. What have you seen from their defense? Obviously, it was a good effort there on Saturday.
Yeah, it's a 3-4 defense, multiple looks, a lot of pressure last Saturday. 5 of their players are among the conference leaders in tackles. So they do a good job. They put a lot of people around the ball. They're very aggressive with their support. Their safeties are 2 of their better tacklers on their football team. They've got a corner, I think number 24 is his number, who we think is one of the better corners in the league. So, they present some issues for you, for sure, on defense.
From a pure health standpoint, did the bye help you, just from recharging the battery and everything, all that?
I don't know if we needed to recharge the battery, but from a health standpoint, Keith, I think it definitely did. I think when you have an opportunity to go out and practice 3 days, give the players 2 days off, and then come back and practice again, there's no doubt that at this time of year, those can be very valuable days.
You mentioned they have one of the top corners. Have you noticed the defenses put their top guy on Leonte a lot, or is it different, team to team with how they just approach their defensive scheme?
It's different team to team. It's not unless you're a man coverage based team, it's not as easy to do that as I think sometimes people think. The basis of what these guys do is quarters and quarter half. Does that mean they won't do it? I can't predict that, but you see it a little bit more with the man teams.
Kyle, this is another one of those senior-specific questions, but Caleb Johnson, knock on wood, I guess, but he's got this long consecutive games started streak, which I remember when Valone had that on the defensive line, we talked about how hard that was for a defensive lineman to play every game. For an offensive lineman, is it kind of the same, and what kind of, I guess, stalwart has he been for you guys over the years?
I think it is. I think it's impressive. It's one of those things that when you see a streak like that for a lineman, you've got a tough guy, because after the first day the pads go on in training camp, you never feel the same. And to go out there week after week, it's very impressive. And I remember during the recruiting process, every week you go out and I'd watch Caleb in wrestling practice. And when you see a guy in high school who wrestles as a heavyweight, it's a pretty good indicator that you've got a tough guy. Those wrestling practices are not easy for sure. So it doesn't surprise me. I think you need a little bit of luck. for sure, but you need a level of toughness as well.
The 61 team you mentioned, do you have any relationship with any of the guys from those teams, and can you appreciate just what they went through being undefeated that year?
I've met a couple of them from time to time. I can't say that I have a deep relationship with any of them, but I know they had a great comeback versus Columbia, I think, in the season finale that year. So it's it's hard to go undefeated. You look around college football at every level. At the end of the season, there won't be very many teams that have done it. So for that team to have done it and to be the first in the history of the university to do it is impressive.
Michael Burton's a guy who obviously plays an important position within this offense that you run, but he's also been playing a lot of different versatile spots, especially this season. What has he meant to this offense over the years?
Yeah, Mike's an important guy in our offense. He does a lot of things that people never. I shouldn't say they never see, but the casual eye doesn't really catch all of them, and plays a big role for us on special teams as well. So, Mike is probably not going to be somebody we can replace with one person.
Any other questions?
Thank you.